They say every song carries a spirit. Some lift you, some warm you, some warn you, and some summon something you didn't even know was listening. In the deep woods of Mississippi in 1932, where the air is thick with sweat and secrets, a juke joint rises, and with it a sound so raw, so haunting, so beautiful, wakes the dead. This isn't just a movie about vampires. It's a story about sin, about sound, about what happens when rhythm becomes ritual. And in this film, the real monsters don't come from hell, they come from history. Hey y'all, I'm Yaya. Thank you so much for tuning into this video, and thank you to Warner Brothers who invited me to an early screening of the new movie Sinners. So since then, I have seen the movie a few times, and it's going to be hard to do this video without giving spoilers, but I promise you, once the movie is released sometime in the future, we will do a full detailed breakdown to give y'all a chance to watch it, but make sure you guys catch it in theaters. It was released yesterday, April 18th, so make sure if you don't have any weekend plans, even if you do have weekend plans, cancel it and go watch Sinners. And I'm going to give you guys a somehow spoil-free breakdown of the movie and some of my takeaways. I'm going to see it a few more times because it's one of those movies, like, you know, on certain channels they play the same movie all the time, but somehow you still want to watch it. I feel like it's going to be one of those movies where it's like, oh girl, Sinners on. Like, you just want to watch it, and I feel like that's good for us spiritual people too, because each time I watched it, I noticed something else different. So even in this overview breakdown, I'm sure it's going to be something that I missed that y'all are going to tell me in the comments, but try not to spoil it, okay? It's only been 24 hours. So the movie in general, there's something haunting and beautiful that lingers throughout the film and lingers with you, not because of the monsters, but because of the questions that it asks throughout the movie. Sinners, directed by Ryan Coogler, is that kind of film that leaves you wondering, questioning things, reflecting on life. And for those of you guys who are like, I don't like scary movies, I can't do it, it's not one of those. It doesn't scream horror. It kind of sings it like horror. It does that. From the moment the movie starts, it pulls you into the humid air of 1930s Mississippi, a time soaked in secrets, soul, and sins. So at its core, Sinners is about return. Two twin brothers, Smoke and Stack, both played by Michael B. Jordan. It was great. I don't even know how they were able to edit that. So they leave behind the fast, gritty, smooth talking Chicago to bring a new rhythm to their hometown by opening up a juke joint. And while it may sound like, oh, they're opening up a juke joint, oh, it's going to be about family drama and chasing a dream, it's much more layered, and it quickly reveals itself to be much more layered. It's about identity, ancestral memory, and a thin veil between the living and the dead. There's a lot of duality. Of course, they're twins, but light and shadow, caution and chaos mirrors the human experience in general and our life's journey. And their opposition throughout the movie kind of shows that the parts that we deny in ourselves is still needed to save us, because you would think, well, this person more cautious, listen to them, or this person is more risky, listen to them. It shows how both is needed, and there needs to be a balance. Now let's talk about the heartbeat of the film, the music. Music in Sinners is not just a backdrop, it's the spell that calls forth the spirit of the story. The juke joint is more than a party, it's a sanctuary. It's where confessions are made, healing begins, and the line between celebration and possession blurs. Every guitar string plucked, every moan that escapes the harmonica, it carries history, it tells a story. Pain, joy, resistance. The guitar in particular holds sacred symbolism in the film. It's more than an instrument, it becomes a portal. The importance of the guitar kind of reminds me of the story of Robert Johnson. I did a video on him in February, and the myth of the blues man who met the devil at the crossroad and exchanged his soul for musical genius. Sinners doesn't retell that story, but it nods to it respectfully and eerily. The guitar in this film is stained with history, and what it plays It doesn't just move the crowd, it stirs the spirits. One of the most powerful threads in Sinners is how it honors the music our ancestors carried, not music that was handed to us, but music that rose out of us. There's a line delivered by Delta Slim that it's just so powerful. He said the blues wasn't forced on us like that religion was. And that distinction is everything. While religion was often weaponized against us, used to shame, silence, and control, blues music became a language of survival. It didn't come from books or pulpits, but from the open wounds and back porch truths. In Sinners, it seems like the blues become a ritual in itself that the spirits answers to, literally, because in one, I don't want to tell y'all. Okay, so this is not a spoiler, but as soon as Sammy got his hands on that guitar and started singing, stomping, and the spirits come. And also pay attention to that scene too, because it's so beautiful, because it gives like a visual representation of how music has transcended over time from Africa to throughout slavery, throughout modern times, and how we still carry that gift with us, and how people have that gift and can channel spirits, can evoke emotion and what comes about. So make sure you pay attention to that scene. And if you've seen that scene, let me know how you felt watching it, because I was like, this is so beautiful. Whoever thought of that, like it. This is where Sinners becomes more than a horror film. It's kind of like a meditation on what we inherit, on what we choose to carry, on what happens when the music is too sacred to be played just for fun. And it also shows the religious opposition that comes with blues music being referred to as devil's music. Even Sammy, who is the guitar player in the film, his father is a pastor, and he states, oh, if you keep dancing with the devil, one day he's going to follow you home. And we kind of see that manifest throughout the film. But his father kind of was the representation of how a lot of religious people felt about the blues, and how they were taught to not to go against it because it's the devil's music, it's not church music. So it shows the mindset of religion and the control that religion had during that time. One thing that I love, the spiritual elements in this film are very detailed. It's not exaggerated or overly glamorized, but grounded in like real Southern folklore and hoodoo practice. There's a woman by the name of Annie in the film who owns a spiritual shop that looks like a little shack where she only serves food. You want some catfish, you want some grits, but you can also get some powders and some high john. It's one of those. It's lined with jars, candles, roots, and her quiet sweet power. There's also a scene where you can see the power and protection of garlic being used, not just a stereotypical crucifix like, oh God, there's a demon, let's hold up a cross and it's magically going to disappear. No, it shows how hoodoo and the elements of nature and things that come from nature are utilized within these spiritual forces to either bring in or cast out. There's one scene where Stack goes to visit Annie at her spiritual shop, and she's charging up his mojo bag, and she have to put in oils and prayers, and I'm like, this is real like specific, because usually in films magic is portrayed like very magic, like things floating and falling over. Like, no, it was hands on. Like, I am going to charge this with my hands. I'm going to use stuff in these random jars and these random mixes, stuff that my grandma taught me. Like, it was so specific. You know how sometimes in movies where it's like spiritual references and you're like, we don't do that. Like, I never seen that happen. That's not how it works. But in this film, I said, yeah, right. Yeah, you do need salt. Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, garlic for sure. Like, it was, I have this stuff in my cabinets. Like, this is good. Also, the air is thick with haint talk. I did a video on haints. So if you don't know what a haint or a skinwalker is, make sure you know before you watch the movie, because it's amazing how the vampire and the haint was kind of coexisting at the same time before it was fully identified as a vampire, which shows how these spirits actually do exist, and this is nothing new. It's just a new version of it. Also, with the vampires, they just don't burst in and start biting people. They wait, because in this world, and it's shown in a movie, evil still needs permission to cross your threshold. A nod to old world beliefs that your home is your altar. That's why there's little hoodoo sayings or folklore sayings that you're not supposed to have a welcome mat outside your door because you're welcoming in spirits, or don't open your door to everyone, or keep a broom by your door, and if it falls, that energy doesn't need to be in there. There's always some type of form of protection when it comes to thresholds, whether it's lining it with salt or brick dust. It shows that. I'm like, And it's so spot on and specific. I'm like, Ryan Coogler, like, is your grandma a hoodoo lady? Like, how did you know to put all these little references and sprinkles of hoodoo so specifically and placed in certain areas? It's good. You're not gonna walk away mad like, child, they trying to make us sound evil. No, hoodoo is used as the savior in this movie. And maybe the most haunting symbolism is how these vampires aren't just monsters, they are metaphors, spiritual representations of what feed on us, our traumas, our temptations, our inherited burdens. The way they operate feels less like fantasy and more like spiritual commentary. They mirror the sins we let in without knowing and the ones we pretend we've locked out. Ryan Coogler has crafted something rare here, a film that just doesn't entertain, it evokes. And in doing so, he reminds us of the sacredness of stories, of how Black Southern spirituality, music, and memory are all woven together into something resilient, something alive. If you're looking for something predictable, this ain't it. If you try to guess the ending, I promise you it's not the ending. Sinners is like poetry but with fangs. It sings of the sins we commit, the ones we bury, and the ones we inherit. So as the lights come up in the theater and the last note fades, you're left not just shaken but shifted in a way. Speaking of the lights coming up in the theater, let me give you guys a quick little cheat sheet for the film. When the credits roll, you don't roll out. You stay seated. You stay seated until you see that Warner Brothers logo pop up. You know what? You stay seated until the staff asks you to leave because you don't want to miss anything. The closing scene is not the closing scene. Also, listen to the lyrics of the song and what's going on in the movie. And pay attention to the placement and the importance of the guitar as well. And watch my video on Haints. So I feel like we did good here. I don't feel like I gave out any spoilers, but I can't wait to fully talk to y'all about this movie because it's just so relatable. You're going to see yourself in the movie because, you know, we are all sinners, you know. But thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. And if you watch Sinners, let me know your thoughts down below. Don't give any spoilers, okay? Please don't give any spoilers. Let's at least give these people a week so they can watch it nicely in IMAX. Oh, y'all, watch it in IMAX. Like, at first, I didn't get the difference of it. But IMAX, it feels like I was sitting in the middle of the movie and I was just watching people like this. Like, it felt like I was in it. Like, I felt like I needed a check. Like, it just felt like, okay, so what's going on? I felt surrounded by the movie. But thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. Again, let me know what you think about the movie Sinners down below. Let me know if you're contemplating watching a movie, you're not sure yet, what's holding you back. Let's have a discussion below. But make sure you go to a theater near you and watch Sinners. This is going to be a witchy hoodoo black classic. I can feel it coming. It's such a good movie. But thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. And like I always say, as above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. Until next time, you guys, Ashe, baby.